And hello everybody, it's I, the Roguescaper, here on Renegade's channel doing some painting today. I hope you've all been doing well as spring is slowly turning to summer. Today's a big day. I think Zed Nesbitt's releasing or is releasing soon, so definitely be on the lookout for that if you haven't gotten the mail. I should be hitting stores pretty soon, as well as we got some new scenario drops, and we got painting. So we got a lot of lot to talk about, a lot to do. We are painting Thyraxis Dragoon today, a bug riding a bug. This is a promotional figure that is available for participating in store tournaments. I recently went to the Lincoln Seasonal and got second place. So thankfully everyone there was able to get one, but I was able to grab yet another. This is the fourth Dragoon I've painted. I've been painting a lot of these because, as many of you know, these are provided unpainted. So it's a great opportunity to pick up that brush and learn to paint. If you notice, I have removed this from the base. That's one thing about these things that are really nice, is just with a little bit of pressure, you can pop them off, and that way you can hit these undersides a whole lot better. So yeah, that's enough yapping. Let's dive right in and get this buggy boy all painted up here. All right, so for the body, let's go with Brigandine Brown. I'm using some of the Heroscape paints today for this model. We're going to go with this nice dark brown just to kind of give us a base tone. And just making sure if it's good here for a second. Okay, perfect. We're looking all good today. Trying a new setup once again. I'm honing in onto how I want it to look. And we're just going to get some paint. I'm using a pretty big brush, kind of a workhorse brush right now, like a size 4, just because there's a lot of surface area to cover. I want to get it done fast. If you have, just a lot of one color in an area to cover, use a bigger size brush. It'll save you a lot of time. Like if I use this brush, one is going to put damage on it that you don't want it to get, and it just, takes half as much time. So it's good to have a few kind of old junk brushes, big brushes lying around for stuff like this. And we're just doing a nice solid layer all over the bug. Look at that sweet bug from Tales of Valhalla. Yeah, this is a pretty fun bug. Definitely, in terms of powers and abilities, is very unique. The ability to rearrange order markers is something we've never seen in Officialscape, and it bonds with the Nagrubs from Classic. It's a really fun unit, and you may be intimidated by painting these guys, but honestly, we're going to try to keep it pretty simple today, just to show you with a little bit of focus you can get this thing done. Like I said, I had a lot of practice on these guys. I've been asked by several friends and other commissions to paint these guys. No base? Yeah, I took the base off just so I could hit this underside better, because otherwise I'm kind of just hitting these weird angles. It pops off fairly easily, and I'll just kind of glue it back on. You, of course, can keep it on if you don't want to take it off, but I want to get all these undersides. If you notice, I primed this thing in black. That's just because this bug has so many curves, so many corners, that if I miss anything, it just is going to appear as a shadow on the bug. On the Dragoon. We're just kind of letting the brush work for us. And since this is our base layer, we're just kind of going fast and just with this here. Might end up asking you for mine when I get it. Yeah, I'll just pocket this one for you, Tails. I had someone ask me the other day, show me some of my like best painted stuff, and I was like, wait, I don't have much of my own. It always ends up kind of going away to other people. So I'm always like, I'll just paint another one. Just I enjoy it. Um, but yeah, it's fun. It's definitely recommend if you're kind of scared about painting. Give it a try. It's really relaxing. You know, once you kind of figure out how to do it, like have your little space set up, and you can do it while you watch shows or, you know, your kind of your comfort show in the background. I've gone through a lot of seasons of TV just play in the background. Like 3 seasons of The Sopranos, just background while I get my painting done. We had a new scenario drop today. I was looking into that. There's some code at the bottom of it, which is a poem, kind of a poem of warning, which I thought was really interesting. Uh, a big old map too. I definitely, if you haven't checked out those free scenarios, give them a look over. They spend a lot of effort, and Renegade spends a lot of effort and manpower, kind of getting those for us for free every month. So I might make a video where I just build that big old map. It's the one that I finally got my snowfield of Valhalla set in. I was back and forth on if I wanted to get it. I finally decided, you know, I got a little bit extra money from some commissions, and I really do like those trees. And I opened up; those ice tiles are so crisp. It feels a lot more crisp than my my old yellowing snow I have now. And my goal is to paint the eyes next to all of them. Might take time. That is the goal. Yeah, that's they're a fun unit. They if you paint them yellow, they take a bit more time, but they also look really good if you can kind of get that yellow tone down. But there's a lot of I've seen so many creative Eisenachs. It really doesn't matter how you paint them. I'm currently working on my. I kind of there was some sales going on, and I got a bunch of Hellforges. I'm trying to paint them all in Hungry Hungry Hippo colors for a custom game mode I'm planning on designing. Hungry Hungry Hellforge. So I'm kind of building that in my head, but first, because I have to do everything extra, I'm painting 4 Hellforges, and you know, blue, purple, green, and yellow. I think is what I'm going to go with, and I'll probably just give them away as prizes or something. But I like the Eisenachs. I was saying in chat the other day, they feel the least Heroscapey, but I kind of meant that like in a good way. Like it's kind of like touched on something we haven't seen before. Kind of this grim dark robot machine amalgamations. They're really cool. I love them to death. I think the bugs are quickly becoming my favorite faction to play with. I think the Eisenachs are currently my favorite ones to paint, if if that distinction can be made. And we're just kind of going through adding a solid coat of color to this. As always, the base color is kind of the least engaging part, but it's our foundation, and will let us kind of build up as we continue onward. You notice I'm kind of doing this so I don't rub off the paint, because it doesn't really fully sit well on a handle. Honestly, if I was to go back and do it, I might paint the underside, let it dry, and then glue it back on just so I have a handle. But, you know, it's trying to get this done fast for stream here. Make sure I'm staying in camera here. as well. Some painters online are very still, very poised, and I'm always kind of all over the place. I'm always having to get on myself because I'm kind of a jittery painter, especially when I'm talking, when I'm not even paying attention. It's two parts of my brain that are used when I film painting. I got my Zed Nesbit in the mail like a week and a half ago. Just finished filming an unboxing, which I'll probably be uploading pretty soon once the render is complete. But I'm happy with how big that thing is. I'm pleasantly surprised when the HasLab was going on. I was like, oh, I really hope we get this blimp someday. And now I have it in my hand, so it's really it's a fun time to be a scaper for sure. It's going to be a fun summer for scaping as well. I'll be going to both ScapeCon and Gen Con. We haven't mentioned this last stream. I'm just kind of genuinely excited about it, so I'll keep on talking about it. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Trying for the World Champions. See how far I can make it there. I've been testing online the Tanuki armies, and I've been pleasantly surprised how they're playing. They have a lot of hidden tech and utility in them, so I might be running them with maybe some bugs. We'll see. Here, going around. The big thing about the Dragoon is you want to make sure that you kind of hit all your spots. Like I said, there are lots of kind of curves and angles, so you definitely want to double check it all, because you can find yourself missing whole gaps or whole areas. Again, that's why that black undercoat will save you in case you do miss any spots. Typically, white is faster and easier to paint over, makes things a lot brighter, but if you do miss a spot, it is far less forgiving. It is, doesn't look right now like that area is fully unpainted. If you're looking 3 feet away, you get a little bit of a pass on it. Of course, you can do like a slap chop or a zenithal on this, kind of for some built-in shadows and highlights. That's always a good method, especially if you're using speed paints, which honestly this model is great for speed paints. There's so much kind of texture and detail. Speed paints will just kind of settle right in and fill in those details without a lot of work. My speed paint collection currently is kind of small. I haven't invested too much into it, or I used them all. So I want to get a set just to kind of showcase some cool things speed paint can do. It's always just kind of the balance of buying more paint and knowing what you need and what you want. Kind of making videos about paint. I spend more on things sometimes that I don't fully need, but I'm going to show off. It's just part of the part of it. You definitely want to pay attention to these leg areas. They kind of have some interesting angles. Like they kind of like to collect the paint and kind of bunch up, so just kind of go around those. And we're just doing this right here, getting in between the bespoke toesies. All right, so very easy, just kind of go around, nice thin layers, and applying that to it. All right, what should we work on next? Let's get the shell going. I think that'll be the most dynamic. So we're going to use deep water blue. I'm trying to use as many of the Heroscape paints just to show that you don't need a whole lot of different. You get that set. I I would recommend maybe picking up a few colors like white and a primer to go along with it. But there's a lot of great secondary and unique colors in that set for your painting collection. And we are just going to put this all on the model right here. Going down to a slightly smaller brush, just so we can kind of hit all those. Although we could probably get away with a bigger brush as well. The Fanatic line, which has the Heroscape paints, is a very great coverage. Like, it usually needs no more than 2 coats for most of their colors to cover over things. It's got a bit of a semi-gloss, I'd say, to it, a very faint gloss to it, compared to more flat paints like Pro Grills with that, which is all just a matter of preference, but it applies pretty easily. Definitely love their new improved formulas compared to their original run, which I mean I cut my teeth on their original run of formulas, but this new batch is 100 times better. They interviewed various creators and members of the painting community and said, how do we make our paints better for what you want? And then they implemented those feedback and suggestions. So, Armor Painter, I think, is a good company to just any company that listens to their fans and takes that feedback is always a company that you want to give your business to. And almost has like a glisten to it, which I kind of like for the beetle shell. It's a little bit more shiny than I was expecting. Sometimes we just get pleasant little surprises. And I'm just doing a solid coat of coverage here. I'm going to have to touch up on these sides where I'm holding my hands just because I didn't think this all the way through. Normally when I paint these on my own, I paint a section and kind of go to another, just work on another model or something. So I have time for it to dry and settle. But it's no worries. It's just paint. You can always apply more of it. You definitely want to get underneath these leg areas. That's why we're painting this model kind of last, so we can get some on it and not worry about some more of the harder details inside kind of this leg area. Yesterday was Revenge of the May the 4th, so I did the bespoke Star Wars stuff. Stayed up late watching some of the new releases, which I was happy to see. Big Star Wars fan. Big Heroscape fan too. We have some of the honor guard named Fred and Bob. What name should we give the Bug Steed? Part of me wants to call him Bunny because he's Bugs Bunny, but I'm sure I can think of a better joke. So I have to ruminate on this. I want to call him For some reason, he has like a proper British name in my mind, like a Winston or like an Edmund. I don't know. Go, Winston. Confuse thine enemies. Although, I like to name all the members of the unique squads. I named the Wraith Riders Roland, Baldwin, and I want to name the last one Roland, Baldwin, and William. Fluffy. Yeah, I like Fluffy. Fluffy's pretty good. The hardest part about this model is just kind of going through and filling in all the little areas that you miss on the initial run. And you already see we're kind of starting to get there. I think on the model he has his belly also blue, so we'll do that. Yeah, I like it. It's very ironic, I'd say. Rise, my Fluffy. I like it. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good name. I'm excited for your take on the Vorids. They all need like like the 1920s. Yeah. In my mind, kind of that old style of upper New York and the Roaring Twenties type of vibe. We're looking pretty good. Okay, let's spots. I'm just happy that allergies are dying down for me. It was pretty rough out here the last month or so. That's probably why you haven't seen much of me around. I just literally like the air where I live is just ripe with it's like dense. Like you can see the pollen in the air. It was so much. Like my phone would give me pollen advisory alerts. Like it's never had this much before. I've never been allergic until I moved here to Kansas. So I was just like, man, I can't. I do not feel motivated to go on camera, snuffling and sniffling and. Should they have like a Boston accent or something like that? Yeah, wise guy. Some Jimmy Stewart in there. Say, Mary, you want the blimp? I'll give you the blimp. It's almost time for Christmas in July, right? Like, so you can watch It's a Wonderful Life. I'll allow it. Okay, we're gonna let that sit for a minute or two. While we wait, we'll paint this base. We're gonna use leather brown. And just paint the sides of it. Typically, if I was not streaming, I would just have kind of all my bugs with these similar colors and kind of go down a line, paint all the shells at once, wait for them. That way, when I kind of go through the next part, they're all dry and ready to go. So I'm just using leather brown from Army Painter. I'm glad that they included this in the Heroscape set. It's one of my favorite colors Army Painter has. It's a very good brown. It's hard to, because brown, there's so much. Every company has their own version of leather brown, and some I find are too orange, and some are too kind of yellowy. This is a really good balanced brown. I use this brown a lot for things. I typically I have a colored primer of Army Painter leather brown that I typically just spray the bases with. Makes it a lot more smooth, but I'm just kind of biding time here. You want a little bit of moisture so it just doesn't create too much texture on the side, and just kind of spread it out evenly. I want to paint the top of the base, so I'm not too worried about that. And so it looks like our blue's drying. What color? All right, so let's get some of the greens going here. I'm just using a flat green as our base color, just because I don't want to build up it from a lighter green. It's kind of harder to go back from like a secondary green. I want a nice solid base color here. Now, in the box art, they have these little spines here, kind of colored like bone. You can try to do that. I just found that it makes the whole process a bit more tedious, because then it's kind of hard to dry brush and do some additional steps on these legs. So I will not be painting, at least for this model, the bones separately. The bone kind of spikes things, just because I think it personally looks better all as one solid color. Sometimes adding, painting too much details on a little model, unless you're like committed to it, you want to do like a prize, can actually distract. Sometimes it's better just to keep things one color and keep it simple for you. So I found that the wash kind of has a hard time. Like it's just we'll kind of see as we go into different steps. But see, I can just use like big brush strokes here and just kind of get it all filled in. Otherwise, I have to kind of block them out and hit all the ankles and stuff like that. The happiest painter are the laziest painters, is what I always say. Just, if you find your paint is taking too long and is too hard to like get finished, it probably means you're doing too much. You can overwork paint, overwork an area, and it would have been better if you just did a simple highlight, simple wash, and moved on from there. Of course, if you're doing like contest painting and stuff like that, then you may want to worry about a bit more about the little details. But for the most part, for Heroscape painting especially, you just want to get this on the table. Get this gray to something you can play. You can quote me on that. Yeah, these are great models though. The sculptor really he had a fun with this one, I think. Or they had fun with this one. Just because it's a very dynamic model, I'd say. Lots of curves, lots of things spread around. This one does look fun to paint. Yeah, it is a fun one to paint. Lots of interesting little details that you can bring out on this model. Lots of legs. So. Yeah, let's wait for that dry. I might need to grab a paint handle of some kind for this at this point. It's tough because you want to be able to get all the areas, but you also don't want to smudge off the paint. I'm going to try to wait for this to dry. Kind of hit it from an above angle. Nagrubs have a new leader, yeah. It's I haven't had a chance to play with this guy yet in an army, but actually Sir Heroscape asked me to paint one for him with painted as like a Nagrub itself. So I was happy with how that one turned out. The shell especially kind of just looked very fitting for those little annoying guys. My brother-in-law likes to play the Torkolna army, and he has repeatedly stopped me, if you pardon the pun, because it's a good army. He runs like 6 squads of Nagrubs and and Torkolna, and demolishes me. He's also new, so I have to go easy on him, is what I say. You want to kind of go around and hit the sides of these legs right here, because this kind of area goes a bit farther than you think. It kind of wraps around. And we haven't done any layers on the body or anything like that yet, because if we kind of go too far with this, we want to be able to easily cover that back up with the color, the base color beneath it. I don't know if we'll have time to get to the writer today, but I'm trying to get as much done as we can. Tank army is formidable, yeah. Or that army is formidable. Yeah, he wiped the floor. There's so many Nagrubs. Actually, the Nagrubs usually do more damage than Torkolna. Like, Torkolna is kind of easy to tie down, but, those little guys are so annoying. Of course, my defense rolls are always subpar. I'm always rolling. When the little guy rolls 1 skull, I'm blanking, but when the big guy is rolling 5 skulls, I roll all shields, so it's that's how it goes. What future thing do I want to see for the bugs? Let's see here. So I would love common squads for bugs. I think that would help them out a bit. I would love some, they need some range support. So maybe some kind of alien wasp-like things that fly with them and shoot, poisonous stingers. to give them a bit of ranged and flying support, because I think that's their biggest weakness now. That and some kind of utility for, to have all the bugs kind of as a cohesive army. Like, the Dragoon doesn't really work well with Maldrick, so I'd love to have some kind of army builder, that's like, oh, all engaged, scored higher, add 1 to your initiative, or something that draft them all together. Because I love thematic armies, but the bugs kind of fill different roles, but there's no like direct synergy outside of kind of their respective pairings. Even just kind of a bug take on Nagrubs, I think would be great to go with this guy, just so we can kind of play them in the contemporary format. Those are all things I love. My day job is pest control, so I know a lot about bugs, and I love. Yeah, I have an interesting relationship with bugs for sure. But some like hornets. I think scorpions. I think there's room for like scorpion type Skodire. Kind of depends on how far they want to take it. We also have like these rider guys. I'd like to know more about them. Like, this bug looks totally different than this bug, but they're kind of like the same species and hive they kind of come from. So I'd love to, you could have a squad of these kind of guys, the dragoons or whatever. But I kind of like when the animalistic kind of bugs compared to the more humanoid bugs. Hero protection aura would be good. Something. I think bugs are a really solid faction. I think they're one of the top performers at this time, but I think they could use just a little bit of range and support. I think, and special attacks. They have no. Well, I guess the big bug pull has special attacks, but something that can maybe replenish your fallen uniques. Like the Maldrix can replenish her fallen honor guard, but maybe something for the bug ball. Kind of a common that can build back up, like the single unit for the Phalanx, because the squads have a couple together, so that you can kind of build back onto it and kind of keep the bug ball alive. There's so many things you could take it. But I love them. I chest bursted a Scavarith the other day, and that is a satisfying feeling. Just rolling that 17 or higher at the end of the round, and kind of insta killing and bringing your unit back. It's potent stuff. And they have the bugs are just so unique. They have they have a lot of 2-card kind of. A lot of the bugs are kind of like 2 cards in a trench coat type of deal, like 1 unit with 2 cards type of deal. So they have very unique synergies. I think they're just they're a fun add-on. Have ants and bees. You need official ants. Love to see them. And bees. Chest person to pair. Yes. I want like a praying mantis type of bug that can kind of just hold things in, kind of grapple them like X-17. I think would be really cool, to let the bugs kind of move into position. There's so many ways you can take it. All right, so let's work on the next part here. I think we're looking pretty good. It's kind of just talking while I was waiting for it to dry. I am going to grab some Jandar blue, which is really fun to have a paint that says Jandar on it. I don't know. For something like that, it just makes it feel like official and cool. That's the main reason I got the paint set was for the Jandar blue. So it's just because if you asked me, 5 years ago, if I would ever have like Army Painter paint, officially licensed with Heroscape, I would have not believed you. I mixed that in with a bit of that deep water blue just to kind of make the blending a bit better. And we're just kind of outlining some of these raised areas to kind of brighten this up a bit. Adding some initial easy highlights. This. Just kind of following the raised curves and the surfaces. Nothing too fancy, just kind of keeping it nice and simple. You could also dry brush this part if you wanted. It gives it a little bit more texture, but it's a lot easier. Gladamantis. I love it. Just bursted a bear with the first swimmers with the queen. Yeah, it's I think that's going to happen a lot at Gen Con. I foresee a lot of chest bursting. I like the bugs all as a faction because they touch on so many familiar tropes while still kind of being unique to themselves. You know, you have your alien, you have your Starship Troopers. You know, you have a lot of different kind of references in there. And I love them all. I'm going to work later probably on blending these colors a bit closer together, but for now, just kind of helps me visualize where I want this to go. Now I'm kind of using more of a dry brush motion. It's a bit of a wet dry brush because I haven't fully removed the excess, but I'm just using kind of that motion and just keeping it kind of smoother and layering this over the top of the blue areas, making it a bit more interesting to look at. Now we're just doing a bit more blue of that Jandor blue and just kind of bringing it up just a bit. I'm going to be applying a dark wash to this, so if I go a bit heavier on it, it's not too bad. And if you notice, I'm using kind of like a dotty motion called stippling to give it both a sense of texture and to blend these colors in a bit better. Stippling is a great kind of tool to have in your toolbox, as it really is a great way just to add a bit of distinction to your paints. Phase. All right, what do I want to work on next here? Burst out your airbrush on the guy and get some good phase. Yeah. This guy takes a lot faster with the airbrush. I'll tell you that. I know a lot of people that start painting don't have it on hand, but man, do I like using the airbrush on the bugs for sure. Let's see here. What do I want to work on next? You know, let's work on some of his armor just to get that done. Let's see what I want to do. If I can find where I put all the paints at. All right, so we're going to take some of this Raylan's Manticore and mix this with a bit of that Brigandine Brown, just to kind of make a dark orange. Very strong, kind of vibrant colors on this bug is what we're going for. That's why I'm kind of trying to tone them down a bit and then build them up so they kind of aren't so bright that they kind of distract kind of more from the nature of the model. Did I paint Q11 yet? I did just a small bit of touch-ups on him. Just some dry brush basing and add a little bit of just kind of detail to the lights. Use some fluorescence to make them appear a bit more bright, but nothing too fancy. I was pretty happy with the paint job. I just wanted some touch-ups to give them some more detail. But so far, he's my favorite pre-painted promo. At this point, I said, forget it. I'm just going to go for this bright orange. This is more just for me to kind of get a sense of the colors in my mind. There we go. I think my music just died. There we go. Let's put it back on. I need some music when I'm painting. I can't I can't process without a little bit of music in the background. All right, so let's just get this orange going. You want to keep your paints pretty thin when you're doing these areas, just because there's lots of little small lines and details you want to kind of keep prevalent if possible. Just kind of painting all this armor orange. We're painting orange over black, so we're gonna probably need a couple layers of that, so it doesn't look desaturated and kind of muddy. Because orange is just more of a thin paint compared to like a blue or a green. Sculptor did not hold back on these little details. All right, there we go. It's actually quite impressive. I'm impressed by the work that went into designing and sculpting this model. Sculpting is something that's like totally beyond my ability. So anyone that can do that kind of work is nothing but has my respect. Just get this all going around here. If you notice, I haven't painted the body yet. That's just because green is a far darker and easier color to layer up compared to orange. So that way I can just kind of paint the orange and not worry about having to work my way back up if I get something on it. For a model like this, if you have like lots of little details, it never hurts to go over with like a white dry brush, just so you can kind of pick them out and kind of know where things are. Sometimes you can find yourself painting and kind of get lost. So it always helps to have a bit of a little beacon to guide you home, or kind of know where things begin and end. do that today. Like I said, I've painted a bunch of these, so I kind of have I have an idea of where this model works and the parts of it. For my videos and stuff like that, I typically try to paint the model 2 or 3 times before I make a video on it, just so I can kind of speak a bit more confidence. Because, I mean, I think that's more my live stream is you get to kind of see me think out loud here and figure out where I'm going. a little bit wayward, you know. Any bit of art requires a bit of internal back and forth, I'd say. So you kind of get to see me think, is this working good? Do I even know what I'm doing? And kind of figure it out in real time. There you go. Yeah, we got some very bright, prominent colors here. A little bit there. All right, let's do these teeth. Let's get the teeth going. I am going to use bone from Pro Krill. You can also use like skeleton bone. Just a nice dark kind of color. I'm actually going to mix this with a bit of the leather brown we used, just to make it a bit darker, so we give something to build up with. Kind of a nice gray brown. And if you can kind of keep that black area between the teeth, it'll look a lot more vibrant. But if you can't do that, you can also kind of paint the whole thing thin, and a wash should fill in those cracks as well. With bones and horns, you definitely want to go around and make sure you hit all the appropriate angles. Because it's very easy to miss a corner or a spot here. So you want to turn it on its back and hit where the teeth start to curve in. There's many different ways to paint like teeth and stuff like that. You know, you can certainly paint the brighter color and kind of work down with shading and stuff like that, or speed paints. I like to work a little bit darker and then work my way up. These things got lots of little teeth. Yeah, I do that often on my stream, or just me, myself, and I. Yeah. Just got to keep on talking, figuring it out. WizKid's making some cool D&D figs with translation parts glow in the dark. Oh, that's pretty cool. I can imagine what maybe like ghost or banshees and stuff like that. That'd be pretty cool. I am on team more glow in the dark stuff for Heroscape. You know, even as like special releases, like I love some promo acolytes that had some glow in the dark wings or something like that. You know, I may be turning 30 this month, but that doesn't mean I'm not a kid. There we go. Let's get some of that teeth going. We're going to brighten those up after we apply a wash. And I'm going to clean up this area that's bugging me. Get a little bit of green on it. All right. second layer of orange to our little Dragoon friend. What time are we at here? It's approaching almost an hour. We'll keep on going and at least get the base colors on. Maybe stop at the shade. Call it a day. You know, I could spend 3 streams going into the details and highlighting and bringing this thing up. But we're just focused on getting this thing kind of to the table today. Okay, so let's use a different style of green for the Dragoon. I'm going to use dark yellow green for this, just because I have that on hand. But you can use like really just any different tone of green will help it stand out with the green on the armor and so with that. Although the box art they do look the same, I sometimes like to tones are a great tool you can have to really make things have some contrast and separate them a bit. I would love to see a Marl paint job for this figure someday. I actually did one recently. I just packaged it up and shipped it out, but yeah, I painted this guy all well, I didn't paint the Dragoon, but I painted the Nagrub all green and Marl flesh, and I was happy with how it turned out. I think it's a very great alt paint scheme. There's a lot of fun ways to take this. I had another person request like a lava version of this, pretty much, you know, kind of the shell, and that was a tough one to figure out. I had like the shell kind of glow at the top, and it gave some lava effects to the swords. That's, you know, there's a lot of creative people out there, or people with creative suggestions rather. Yeah, but I love this guy. He works really great in an army. He's a bit of points, but honestly, in a standard like 500 point army, you can include him even without Nagrubs and still have a little bit of room left over to add some fun little things into as well. And his stats are crazy. Like this thing can bring the hurt to whatever encounters for sure. Just got some marbling paints. I'm looking forward to try. I might do that right now. Marbling paints. Oh, I have to look that up. Sounds familiar, but not enough for me to remember what it is. I'm just thinking of steak right now, so. Let's see here. Oh, it kind of has like. Oh, kind of like layered colors that kind of go with it. Kind of like transitions. Yeah, that looks really cool. What do you plan on using it with? Just going around. I like how this green interacts with this orange a bit better than that green and that orange. It's a little bit more subtle. Feels like something like a bit more close to flesh tone or alien bug flesh tone in my mind. And it's kind of got some brown tones to it, so it kind of, I think it blends better with the orange. Especially once we add some more layers and some highlights. Once you kind of get to this part this is the hardest part of the model, kind of this inner area. You really have to kind of poke your brush in and hit those corners, those areas. Get underneath these elbows here. And definitely we'll have to go through and probably touch up things, but we're getting there. Okay, let's see here. You definitely want to keep your paints pretty thin on the face area, because you're gonna get these eyes and all that stuff that you wanna preserve. And let's see here. Let's get some silver for these blades. Nothing too fancy. We'll just use if I can find it, plate mail metal. If not, I'll just use another brand. Yeah, we're keeping it pretty simple. I've been doing a lot of work with non-metallic metal, and I'm not fully confident yet. Doing that more in my own time. You have a samurai that needs a fancy Komodo. That's pretty cool. That's one thing I would love to see is some more samurai added to this game. Even if it's a bug samurai, if it's a Skodire samurai, I'll take it. They could put a samurai for every faction, and I wouldn't complain. You could have an orc samurai, you could have a Soulborg samurai. Yeah, I'm excited for this next Renegade Con. I feel like we're going to have some really interesting reveals. I'm excited to know more about those scions that were teased. Those dragon. I don't know if it's a squad or a group of heroes, but the scions and those great bow archers. I am ragingly curious. So I also am kind of impatient. So I'm going slightly mad here. But I think I'll be able to make it for another month. And can you mix peach flesh color with a touch of yellow to achieve the correct Morrow skin tone? So Morrow skin tone is always kind of a subject that is hard to figure out. You could do peach and yellow. It might be a bit too pinkish. I feel like. Typically, what I recommend using is a beige, a bright yellow, and a tiny bit of like bone color. Mix those together, and to preference, and that will kind of get you in the ballpark of what you're looking for. The problem with Morrow is that every Morrow is kind of unique unto themselves, and the washes and various techniques they use change the color, so it's hard to visually color match as well, because different generations of Morrow have different colors. You have like the drones, which are a bit more like pale white yellow, and then you have like the Drudge, which are kind of more like a brownish yellow. And then you have Black Burna, which is like a tannish yellow. So they're all all kind of, it's hard to find it. But for the most part, if you go brighter white, beige, and yellow, and then add, the best is oil washes if you kind of want that marrow look. But you can use kind of like very thin down washes and layer over it to kind of get that look. I want to make a video on it. It's definitely a subject I want to go more into. A good friend of mine, Last Shark, made a very good detail as well, detailing kind of the process for how they paint Morrow. But I think I'm like 90% close to finding the perfect formula for it. There we go. We're just kind of getting there, going around. Let's see here. For the eyes, I like to make the eyes always kind of pop. I like to first paint the sockets all black. We're using matte black from the set. And once that dries, we'll add some pupils. But the more instances you can add contrast to a thing, the better you can see it from farther away. So let's. There it is. Yeah, I'm just getting kind of sloppy here, and maybe my paint's a bit too wet. It's okay. The good thing about too wet paints is they're easy to clean up, and you can kind of spread them around. I think this was Brigandine Brown with a bit of leather brown in it. I accidentally grabbed the wrong color, but it's kind of good because it acts like a bit of a highlight. Okay, so we are slowly but surely getting there. And for the pant legs, we're going to want to use a tan. We're going to use that leather brown as well as, if I can find it, ancient stone. If I can't find it, I'll use a similar color. There you go. Knowing how to kind of mix colors is a great way to save money on paints. Even doing some simple blends is a great way just to build up your paint collection. And we're just making these pants kind of bright for some visual distinction, and also that's kind of how it is on the art. And we're keeping the paints pretty thin. Not enough that it flows all into the model, but covers nice and smooth. We want these lines in the pants to really show through. And we're just heading all around. Some touch-ups in here. This is the hardest spot, just because we get that horn and the pants. Kind of all comes together right here. up that green. It's been bugging me all night. There we go. And while we wait, let's just kind of go through and tidy up some of our errors. Make some of our lines a bit nicer. Go. I missed this whole section right here. You don't want to worry too much about every section, but if you notice something in your initial cleanup, then by all means, clean it up. Get it done. I have to kind of paint more for a closer purview. You know, a lot of my stuff is usually put up under more of a close lens for people to look at. So I spend actually more time on that kind of stuff than I personally would or would even recommend people to do. You know, I have to put this up on a lens and showcase it off, so every little detail is magnified. But if you put out any macro lens on a model, it instantly looks bad. Definitely took me a bit to not be so self-conscious about it. But for the most part, you know, if you miss some areas and you're just playing, you won't even see them. I don't have one on hand now, but like you get a lamp with a magnifying glass. It's a great tool to just kind of see things while you're painting. I used to have one. My children kind of snapped in as toddlers are wont to do. Gonna paint the toesies, and we're gonna add another layer. To the Thyraxis. Amazing how many looks on the stop motion screen, although I'll always have to watch out for invisible hair. My painted animation, I can't tell you how many times I've taken a picture of my mini and there's just like a little hair sticking out of it. I'm like, what? I had a golden retriever in my house like 4 years ago, and I'm still cleaning up hairs from it. Yeah, I'm excited to see some of these bugs in stop motion. I know you made the bug ball one, uh, but I think these things will translate really well. Actually, I think all these units will. A lot of the AO units would look very good for your style of stop motion. They're very dynamic figures with lots of personality, so that seems something that you're drawn to. Which is a lot of Heroscape figures. I think a lot of Heroscape figures have very big personalities, very big presence, which is, you know, why you love the game, why you love the figures. They stand out in a crowd. 2 cats. Oof. Oof. That's your life is more hair than than matter. I'm just adding a bit more highlights to this here. Trying to get to a stopping point here, but keep on finding new little details I want to explore. All right. We're going to take some of that deep water blue, and we are going to thin it down and kind of blend these colors a bit more together. Sometimes when you add highlights, and if they just seem a little bit too strong, you can kind of take your paint to the point where it's almost like glaze-like consistency, very translucent, and then kind of cover it up like this, almost maybe even more. It should be very thin, and put it over the models, and this will soften the edges of the colors. Layering and glazing is a great tool to have in your tool belt. That's how the pros get to their, those beautiful color transitions and stuff like that. I'm just making this slightly softer. I still want it to be kind of strong because in true classic Heroscape fashion, I want to apply a deep wash to these. Before I add any more highlights. But you can see just those transitions are a little bit less bold now. And makes it feel more like a unified shell here. Okay, so this is kind of our base coat. Let me just fill in some of these silver spots on him before, and we'll add a wash, and we'll call it a day. I'm gonna have to go through and definitely do some touch up on the Dragoon herself. It's a little messy up here. Yeah, I'm just going to fill out these armor spots, trying to keep the edges of the orange as much as possible. And I'll probably have to go through and tidy some of that up. You, of course, can just keep it all one silver color. you don't have to kind of do those wrappings like that. This might be an instance of me doing it a little bit too much. I'm just going to take my brush and fill it in the armor spots. I've decided just to fill them in fully, and then after I apply the wash, I'll edge highlight to bring out the kind of the borders. I am not doing the eyes before the black wash because I do want those to kind of pop. But what I would do is do pure white, and then I would add a bit of speed paint, actually, just thin speed paint to the eyes, and they'll look pretty good. After I apply the speed paint, I'm going to go through and add a bit of detail to these legs and brighten up the teeth and the eyes as well. And I can't tell based off this model if that's light. Maybe paint the horn end. Maybe I'll do that now. Just because I think I like it painted a bit better. Add some visual separation. Just took that same mixture we used for the teeth, and actually going to do another layer for the teeth while I'm here. And just going to trace the outer. Let's curve. Okay, so there we go. I think I am started the habit of wiping my brush on my thumb now because Roguescaper. That's so great when you work in a large painting, but a terrific technique for minis. Yeah, I use it a lot. I do it a lot for many different reasons. One is I like to see my colors constantly. I know it's funny, but I always can look at my colors when I'm painting. And two, it allows me to control flow of the paint. Sometimes you overload your brush, and nothing worse than going to your brush and clogging up all the details because you actually had more paint or more water. So you can, if you don't want to use your thumb, keep a napkin nearby. It works just as well. But it's just it's just a quirk I've developed. I often ask my wife, "What do you think I paint today?" and ask her. I think we're gonna let this dry for a bit. I don't want to risk getting the details muddy, but I'm pretty happy with how we're looking so far. Let's see. Yeah, it matches right up. So you can certainly get this. I believe this is still just available for tournaments. There's some store championships going around the country currently. So see if one is near you. You can check on the Heroscape Battle Network, and you can pick up one of these on your own and paint it and follow along with me. Maybe make it better or make it your own style. There's so many different ways. We're kind of just doing the base layer here, but even just with the base layer, it is 1,000 times better than just a gray mini. And we did this all in about an hour and a half. So just a little bit of focus, and you can get this thing done. So be sure to get that that tournament find one near you, participate. Heroscape tournaments, I say this all the time, are really fun to go to. You'll never see a more casual and fun-loving tournament. Like everyone's there to win, but people aren't like playing the best armies. They play the armies that they love the most. So someone will show up with D tier units just because they have a personal connection with it, and yeah, it's really a lot of fun. Actually got this guy in a tournament recently, so definitely go check one out while they're still in the OP kits. And then just check out other Heroscape. We have some releases coming this month with Zed Nesbitt. I think I have him right here, just a big old blimp that you can add to your army. It comes painted and unpainted for those of you who don't want to do it, but I definitely recommend trying to paint this guy because he's kind of awesome. And we've got a new scenario available today, so check that out. It has a cool map featuring a lot of units, a lot of pieces from previous expansions, and some really cool narrative and lore that you can play along with. So a great month for Heroscape. I'll be sure to post this once it's all kind of tidied up and finished washing. And I hope everyone just keeps scaping on. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all around. And I'll say bye at that. Bye.